copy of your paper.
Yeah, this summer, that's all right.
Thank you.
That's all it is now. We're here. What about this
You asked the question. The answer is yes.
Long pre-council meeting, and I thought the healthy council meeting tonight as well. We've had several things going on this past week. One of the most interesting one was the dedication of the new fire truck. That was a really neat dedication, interesting dedication. I hadn't seen everybody pushing the truck before.
Yes, I put that all here.
You did?
And it was really hard for me to get that truck in the day by myself.
You just kind of looked surprised when they said you were going to back it
I
up.
was. I'm just glad that it went well.
Well, it went well too, because there were a lot of people doing that back there. And anybody that went out to the Texas Star on Sunday, wow, what a huge crowd that was. She's not here to say how many people came yet, but that was a big crowd. It was a great day. It was big to see it. So, and the nice thing about it is when we have a golf cart that carry people back and forth to the way out fields, now that makes it really nice. And we had a very interesting candidate forum last night. For those of you that missed it, it was most interesting and most informative. So we thank everyone for having anything to do with that. Do we have any reports from our city council?
Yes,
Okay.
we had an Easter event in our parks. It was a great event. I thought the staff did a good job, as y'all will do right down there. And it was packed. It was packed. A lot of kids enjoyed themselves. A lot of eggs were dropped from a helicopter. It was a great event. So, that's sure
Anyone else? We have anything, if we have nothing else from the council, do we have anything else? Okay, it's your turn.
Okay, just a few things here, Mayor, before we get started. Hal Craner has an introduction he would like to make.
I do. I'm sure all of you know that JT is leaving us at the end of the month, and his replacement is James Witt. James has come to us in Keller. He was there about 10 years and brings a lot of energy, which helps me since I don't have much anymore. He can take care and pick up the load, but James is going to be a good addition, and he started a week or so ago and is following JT around. He knew Euless much better than I did when I came to us, so he's got an advantage.
You got to say it much?
No.
He's been here before.
I drove through it. But James is a welcome addition, and looking forward to working with him.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And you mentioned Glenda, and you said something about her being maybe my report. Glenda is out today. Her mother's having serious surgery today, and so she will not be here, and I don't know her to be over there. So I'm just so we will have to forego that report.
Maybe I'll make a guess and say that.
We've not had good guesses since Rick Harold left, so Rick Harold, yeah.
Preachers is from really funny.
Glenda's mom is out of surgery and she's doing well on lots of payments.
Good, good. She had a leg infection, serious surgery. One other quick thing before we get to our first discussion topic. You may have read in the paper or seen on the news yesterday an announcement from AT&T with regard to the broadband. A couple of the TV stations reported that AT&T's been in discussions with cities. They absolutely have not. And AT&T doesn't claim that. We've got copies we'll pass around of the news release that will tell you, but we got the news release. Yesterday we had zero conversation. It's good news. Don't get me wrong. I don't know where the news stations got it, but there have been discussions like some negotiations or whatever. But you already got it? Oh, okay. Where'd you get it? Oh, okay. Well, we killed some trees. Yeah. If you like a second one, Ms. Gretchen will autograph me, so you can have an autograph copy of it. But anyway, that's all we know about this. It's right there in that press release.
Sounds like a good benefit though.
Oh, it's a good thing. It just,
I not only got this, but it came in an email.
Yes.
If you have.
did it really? 'Cause I
That would be my
thought they
third
were-
copy.
Pardon?
That would be my third copy.
Okay. Because AT&T had a hard time getting through our email. So I think it came to,
I got it too.
whatever your
so-
name is, Dale's home email. So it came from, very good. Anyway, so with that, I want to introduce the two Johns to be at the airport. I think most of you know him very well. Mayor, the Honorable Mayor John Farrell, from our neighbors South Lake. Vice President Commercial Real Estate out at DFW, John Brookfield, is with him, and you probably both know them. We asked them to give you a nice update on the airport because of this occasion. There's some really exciting things going on out there. So, John.
All right, great. Where would you like for me to stand?
Wherever you'd like.
I'll get the remote from you. I'll come down here.
We're not quite as fancy as South Lake. You didn't have limo service here.
He's got a golf cart.
Well, before we get kind of started on what's going on in the airport, and Gary was absolutely right, it's just really exciting time. On behalf of the airport, I do want to just say how much we are going to miss the mayor. I know this is going to be probably the last meeting that we attend while you are still mayor to make a presentation, but the relationship that we've had with you over the many years has been just outstanding. We're going to miss you, your leadership, your personality, and everything at the airport dearly. That is not to say anything bad. I understand there are at least a couple of candidates in the room to fill it in. Not that we won't form that great relationship with them as well. But I wish Jeff Fagan could have been here. You had such an incredibly good relationship with him as well. But thank you deeply from the airport. You've done such wonderful things with us out at the airport and for your city. Thank you. Going on to, whoops. I probably don't want to talk about Allied Waste Service. Oh, there we go. I'm not even going to belabor the issue of where it is. All of you know where it is, right next to the Rome car towards the south end of the airport within the city of Euless. But this does give you kind of a site plan of what's happening. We're so excited that what has been kind of a vision for the last 4 or 5 years, and we've had lots of discussions. We've had general contractors and master developers that we've tried to work with, and just didn't quite work, so we decided to go ahead and do the master development ourselves. And today, if you drive out there right now, all the streets are in, utilities are in, the pads are pretty much ready for construction. Our office building, which is the L-shaped building, is 25% complete, and we'll be moving in by beginning of this next year. John's going to go over kind of each one of the little pieces, but overall, what we're talking about is our new headquarters, our consolidated headquarters. We're looking at the Hyatt Place Hotel, which we will also be the owner of that as well, and so we will have some hotel occupancy taxes. I know what interests everybody in this room. We're going to be with the retail and pads that are coming in. We'll be generating some sales taxes, and we are moving the U.S. Post Office from the west side to this location. And a lot of folks don't realize that on the airport, mail is not delivered to every tenant on a daily basis. You actually have to go to the post office to pick up everybody's mail. So this is truly going to be a destination location out here. And then I'm going to let John quickly talk about the rest of this particular site. Actually, the animation's in here. I'll show you a real quick 3D, and I think this is the short version of what this thing is going to look like. But we're very excited. As I mentioned, you know, it is 32 acres right in front of the rental car facility. Very strategic location at that diamond interchange before you enter into the south toll booth. And this is a rendering. There are some minor modifications that have changed, but this is a pretty good example of what this is going to look like with the plaza out in front of our L-shaped building there, our new corporate headquarters and parking garage just behind it. And you see some ghosted buildings kind of over here on the upper right and just off the screen in the upper left. The one on the right is a future hotel. Once we get this one kind of operational and stabilized after about 2 years, we'll be looking at a second hotel. And then this is a future office building with some pads out front. You can see those vacant pads. I'll let John kind of go into some of the details on each one.
Absolutely. Well, again, we're very excited to be telling you that groundbreaking has happened on Southgate, so it's not just a dream anymore, it's in reality. It's so far in reality that we're actually working on material to try to lease up several retail restaurant pad sites that are around the perimeter. John mentioned those a minute ago, and he was showing you the video. We're in the middle. We've got a brochure here that might be of interest to some folks, but we're looking and actively working with some prospects on retail and especially restaurants. And again, this would be a great corner, highway corner basically, that's served by the airport workforce, the airport traveler base, as well as commuters coming through the airport. Over 100,000 cars a day at this intersection. It's going to be it's got the right kind of market dynamics. So we're looking for a mix of restaurants. Some sit down, full service sit down, American, non-American, some fast casual, fast food, and then kind of a coffee and deli type of an offering as well. We're underway with marketing strategy. We've got several different avenues that we're going down. We were just meeting this morning with some folks and yesterday, and so there's a lot of interest in the market right now for this site. We're also working on the Hyatt Place Hotel. As John mentioned, that this is a core component of one of the anchors of the project. It's a 137-room Hyatt Place flag prototype hotel. We've seen the prototype. We've been and visited the locations around the country where they are. It's the right product for this area. And so right now we're completed with design. We just need to get a couple of additional agreements worked out, last stages of those, and we'll be starting construction this summer on that. It's mainly a business traveler type of hotel, but it also could serve the leisure market. It's got a little bit of meeting room space. And again, we just want to express our appreciation for the work that we did jointly on a hotel revenue sharing agreement a few years ago, which made this project possible. It's going to be built here in the next year and a half it'll be open. The post office facility, just to round out the anchors that we've been mentioning, this is a smaller facility, but it's important for the reason that John mentioned, that all tenants are going to be coming to this facility to get their mail. So its importance is bigger than its actual size. The Postal Service has been in a building on DFW for a number of years, actually since the beginning of the airport, but they're a small piece of a big, almost empty building that we've kind of used for some of our own purposes. Used to be an airmail building. They don't use it for that anymore. So we're relocating them into a very much more customer-friendly facility at the Southgate development. And it's only about a 6,000 square foot building, but it's got an important customer service aspect to it, as well as it'll bring a bunch of people into the airport that would otherwise be at other parts of the airport into the retail area of the airport, which we think is a good driver for this project. Just to talk about schedule for a minute or two, we did do groundbreaking on the entire project last year, and this is north of a $90 million project that the airport is investing in. We started some of the groundwork of the infrastructure and roads and streets last summer. That work is ongoing. If you've been out there lately, you'll see that big retaining walls have been built. Streets and mass grading are underway, and that'll be done by this summer in terms of all the streets and utilities and some of the landscaping. The retail and restaurant pad site marketing, as I mentioned, is currently underway. We're probably going to see our first deals here in the next couple of months, and then they'll be building those buildings. And of course, building a restaurant is a shorter affair than trying to build a hotel. So everything hopefully will be coming together at about the same time in third quarter of 2015. Middle to the last quarter of third quarter of 2015 is when our office building will be complete. The majority of the restaurants will be complete. Of course, the infrastructure, the streets, and so forth will be done by then. And the hotel, which has the longest construction time, will be complete about that time as well. So a little more than a year from now, we'll have a really signature facility in the city of Euless on the airport. And again, we're just very pleased to be this far along and appreciate the support that we've received from the Euless office.
Something that John didn't mention on our office building, we'll actually be starting a move-in in January of 2015. So less than a year from now, we'll start to move. We anticipate total move-in by February of 2015 into that location. When you look at not only what we're constructing, which is about a $93 million project so far, plus the restaurants that would be built, the future office and a future hotel, you're probably looking at somewhere between $150 and a $200 million project in the city of Euless. I did pass out these marketing brochures, and I don't know if you've got on your website, something that shows developments that are coming into Euless, but this certainly is a big development with a lot of investment in the city of Euless on the airport. If you're interested in putting something on the website about what's happening in Euless. This is also an incredibly important project. As they are constructing 183, we now have a verbal commitment by TxDOT to work with us on the east-west connector, and we would donate that land or dedicate the land for the construction, and then we could connect Hardwood over to Rental Car Drive, which would create an entire east-west connector from 360 over to 161. And hopefully we could get that done towards the beginning time frame of construction. It won't happen before 183 starts construction at the south end, but hopefully shortly thereafter, so that that could also act as a reliever. But that's a great opportunity for mobility in and around this area, and we've gotten a lot of support from COG and TxDOT on that.
Excuse me, but
Yes, sir.
does that connect across Trigg Lake there?
It would cross, as a matter of fact, Trigg Lake, is that a pointer? No. This is Trigg Lake, and it would actually go across the dam of Trigg Lake.
Okay.
And so we'd be reconstructing that dam so that it would actually run across the top of Trigg Lake's dam.
Thank you.
Interesting to note too that the south gate is on the northeastern part of the end of that east-west connector. So it's not only a project that's important to the airport and to the regional mobility, but also it's going to really create another cross-traffic reason for people to go to the south gate development as well.
We've already had on the Southgate project 2 meetings that we just started with some of the restaurant groups, and we already have 3 of the pad sites that folks are vying for, and so we think at least one of the corners, they're telling us they'll be open before we move into our office building. So we're getting a lot of success on that corner as well.
Are you moving all of the admin into this one facility?
Correct. The entire administration building, all of the business center north and south towers, and some of our HR people out of another smaller building. We're moving from 4 buildings into this building.
So what are you going to do with those northeast buildings that have a lot of admin people?
There are, let's see, I don't think all of them show up on this map, but in the 4 buildings, the HR building is a very small, very old building that actually had about 3 different additions, and you kind of have to walk up some ramps and so forth. That one's probably going to be demolished. The other 2 buildings, one where we hold our board meetings, which is our approved administration building currently, and the north and south towers, we're actually in negotiations to lease all 3 buildings long-term to someone who wants to revitalize all 3 of them and lease them out. So that would be a great use. I'm sorry?
Your office is going to be there?
My office will be in the new office.
Hooray.
Yeah. It'll be in Euless.
Much easier.
I'll be a Euless resident by day.
I know you.
That's right.
We just drove around and around and around the inside of that thing.
Well, and it is going to be, I mean, from an administration building, when you look at the fact, we're really going to drive traffic to this. This is going to be kind of the central headquarters for the airport. And so with the new office building, the hotel, the rental car facility being right immediately adjacent, and the post office, some of the different things that we're working on to drive the traffic to this location that's going to be real convenient is at Centerport, where the Trinity Rail Express comes across, there is a shuttle that comes out daily, picks up those folks and currently drops them off at a remote parking facility. We're rerouting that bus, that shuttle, and it's going to come into Southgate, drop you off at Southgate and the rental car facility, and you can catch the rental car shuttle into the terminal, but that's going to bring all those employees and anybody who's coming in on that to fly into Southgate. I already mentioned the post office. Everybody comes to the post office to pick up mail. We've got over 100,000 in traffic going up and down on both the Service Road and International Parkway. And as you just look at it, we're really just trying to drive a bunch of traffic there. I think it's going to be a very successful location.
That's great.
Any other questions that you have? Well, we want to thank you certainly for all of your partnership, making this happen. And, you know, as this becomes, gets a little bit further down the road, I think we're going to work together as we already have with TxDOT and COG on how do we make this happen, because I think it's important for both the airport and Euless to get that connectivity in there. That's a huge mobility missing piece of a puzzle.
John, before you get out of here, I know you have to leave, but just because there's people that have been here a long time and people that have not been here a long time, sometimes we talk about these, the airport development in pieces, and I don't know that we ever paint the full accurate picture. And I think it goes into general development incentives throughout in our city or any other city. Our revenue sharing agreement was the genesis of all of this. I mean, that, if you look at that airport city, and they had a choice of where to put that rental car center when it went in out there. It could have been in any one of 4 cities. The fact that we had the revenue sharing agreement, put it in use. I won't put John on the spot, but there's a hotel that's coming in out there. That is a separate revenue sharing agreement for hotel occupancy tax. I don't know that it would be there were it not for that. I can't say that for sure. Again, we'll put him on the spot. But that, again, goes to the overall revenue sharing agreement. And then all that traffic that he's talking about driving goes to Euless. And the road that cuts across there, that further incorporates particularly that segment of the airport into our city. I mean, right now, if you want to go eat at a restaurant, you have to go to a terminal, but that's another restaurant opportunity, which will be shared revenue from that. So I think there's a good lesson to be learned there, and I'm not trying to preach a sermon here for you, but it's the exact same sermon that we preach on development incentives in general. One little piece, you take one little piece out and you change the entirety of that appearance of the puzzle. And that, this stuff is not just happening, and I certainly didn't do it. The mayor played a key role in it in whatever that year was, 1997, or whenever that revenue sharing agreement was done, and then the rental car tax election that was held. That is a difference change maker for our city, and I think we'll continue to see benefits of that. But it all started right there with that agreement that was struck by Tom Hart, Barrett Salomon, and Jeff Bagan.
Yeah.
Those people out there. So it's, have I said anything terribly wrong?
No, as a matter of fact, you were so accurate, but I really wanted you to get to the point about how much just the rental car is producing. The airport's not a tax collecting entity or a tax assessing entity, so all the taxes that get produced out there go to whatever city we're in, and with the tax sharing agreement, it is split between the other cities, but if you can imagine, there is no cost to any of those other cities because we put in the utilities, we provide police and fire, we put in all the streets and maintain those streets. So that, just the rental car facility is generating $15 million a year in taxes. 5 goes to Euless, 5 goes to Dallas, and 5 goes to Fort Worth, and that doesn't cost any of those 3 cities a penny. But what it has done is generate a huge amount of traffic to this location, which has spurred now this additional development that's going to generate sales tax and hotel and occupancy tax on here because we do have such a great partnership with the city.
The neat part about this is there's no competition. I mean, it's, obviously, we'd love to have a hotel. Our market's not quite right for a hotel, but we will certainly benefit from that one right up there. So I just think it's been a great relationship, and you couldn't ask for a better picture of how development occurs and how key the incentives are than that right out there at the airport. Because our position has remained pure throughout this. 1/3 of something is a whole heck of a lot better than 100% of nothing. And that's one little truism that's carried through now for however long it's been, 17 years, like that, and it continues. It will pay the dividends for years and years to come.
Well, and just as an FYI too, John, you want to point out where we're doing stream? And we're doing another major lease of about 900,000 square foot warehouse distribution at that location. And we've had some recent inquiries for some mixed use down here south, right on the 360 frontage, as well as all in that area. So development is hot right now, and this represents the land that we have an agreement and we're going to focus folks towards. So we're really excited.
John, is any of this kind of a result of the Aerotropolis meeting?
You know, the Aerotropolis meeting, we did a lot of discussion on that.
Yes.
We have spurred a little even more interest, but really the economy, especially right in this area, and the supply of land that is strategically located from a logistics standpoint. The airport represents right in the middle of the Metroplex with great highway connectivity to Canada, Mexico, and all across the U.S. And now what you're seeing is we just signed an alliance with a group called OMA, and it's an organization that manages 13 airports in Mexico. And we have a deal struck with them, and they've already gone up 40% on truck traffic, bringing cargo from Monterey to DFW Airport by truck, because it is so much more cost effective and time effective than shipping it through their own customs and their own airports to Asia or the Middle East. So it's actually faster and cheaper for them to truck the stuff across the border to DFW Airport and then fly it from our cargo to China and the Middle East. So it's those kind of things, with all of our new airlines that have been coming in, as well as the technology has changed. It was less than a decade ago that the planes could not fly from DFW directly to all points in the world. Now with the extended range planes, you can get anywhere. Now the world is one stop or no stop. It's direct to any place you want to fly. That's a game changer, and the Asia market brings in a tremendous amount of investors that want to build things in the U.S. And what they're doing, we just announced, and we start flying, I think in June, to Hong Kong and Shanghai direct. That's the first direct flights to mainland China ever for DFW Airport. And when we get those direct flights into China, that is truly a game changer for the entire region. When we get one of those daily flights, and we talk about it all the time, but everybody hadn't heard it or doesn't realize it. When we get one daily international flight that comes in every day of the week, That equates to about $250 million in economic impact for North Texas region. So every daily international flight that we get is like bringing a Super